Eddie Hearn has pretty much promised that he's going to put Anthony Joshua in with one of his domestic rivals this year. Now, assuming he gets past Kevin Johnson and does so in impressive fashion, and, you know, this is the heavyweight division, anything can happen, but assuming he does, Eddie Hearn's going to be under pressure from the British public to fulfill that promise. Now, some of the names that Eddie Hearn's been throwing around recently are people like David Price, Tyson Fury, Derek Chisora, Hughie Fury, even David Haye. These are big names. But the problem with putting Joshua in with one of those guys is that those guys are not matchroom fighters. Okay, I'm talking about the problem from Eddie Hearn's perspective. They're not matchroom fighters. So if Joshua was to lose to one of those guys, then his stock is going to drop dramatically, depending on how devastating the loss is. His stock is going to drop, and Eddie Hearn's going to lose out financially. He's going to have to resell Joshua to the British public again, and it's going to be a lot harder the second time around. So in an ideal world, what Eddie Hearn would want is another British heavyweight prospect on his books, signed to him, who he could match Joshua against and sell that as the step up, the big step up that the British public are demanding. And he might just have found the perfect guy in Dillian Whyte. Dillian Whyte at the moment is unsigned. He's not with a major promoter. Okay? And he said in a recent interview that he's looking to sign a deal this year. And we know that Dillian Whyte wants to fight Anthony Joshua. For those of you who don't know, Dillian Whyte and Anthony Joshua have a rivalry that goes back to the amateur days when Dillian Whyte beat Joshua. Okay, and ever since then, there's been bad blood between the two, which has been boiling up and kind of overflowing recently. They had a bust up in the Klitschko camp when they were both over there as sparring partners. It nearly came to blows. They've had Twitter beef recently. So there's a simmering rivalry there, which Eddie Hearn could definitely sell to the public very easily. And if he manages to sign Dillian Whyte, you know, no matter who wins, Eddie Hearn's gonna, make money. So even if Whyte was to win, not a big deal. He can then promote Whyte to the British public instead. So I'll be amazed if that is not what Eddie Hearn is thinking. And Eddie Hearn actually said recently as well that he'd be willing to put Joshua in with Dillian Whyte within the next 6 months or sooner. Now that either means that he doesn't think very highly of Dillian Whyte, or it means that, as I'm suggesting, he's looking to sign him. You know, if he don't sign Dillian Whyte, I can't see that fight happening this year. I'd be very surprised. Now, there are some other places that Dillian Whyte could go. He could go over, join Sauerland like George Groves did in David Price. And he could join Frank Warren and Box Nation. But he wouldn't get as many dates on Box Nation as he would with Eddie Hearn at Matchroom. Eddie Hearn in the UK, if you are a young fighter and you want to get out and fight as often as possible, there's only really one choice, and that's Matchroom at the moment. You're not going to get as much exposure, and you're not going to get as much opportunity to fight on Box Nation as you are with Eddie Hearn on Sky. So that would seem like the obvious choice for Dillian Whyte. His rivalry with Anthony Joshua is there. He's going to get plenty of exposure, plenty of dates. It is what it is. Drop your comments below and let me know how you feel about the situation. Do you think Whyte is going to go down that road, or you think he's going to go a different road? And which do you think would be the best for him? And as far as what Eddie Hearn's saying about matching Joshua against his domestic rivals this year, do you think he's sincere about that? And if you do think he's sincere, let me know who you think he's going to match him against. And if you don't think he's sincere, let me know who he's going to match him against alternatively. Yeah, so drop your comments below. It's your boy Hearn, I'm out.